In 1921, the wealthiest black community in American history was burned to the ground. Not by an enemy nation, not during a war, by American citizens, with American weapons, with American police standing beside them, and American planes flying above. In one night, they destroyed 35 blocks of black-owned banks, hotels, law offices, churches, hospitals, and homes. And for the next 75 years, the city of Tulsa pretended it never happened. To understand what was destroyed, you have to understand what Black Wall Street actually was. In 1921, the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma was unlike anything else in America. Black doctors, black lawyers, black bankers, black hotel owners. A self-contained economy where black dollars circulated within the community before leaving it. O.W. Gurley had come to Tulsa with $50 and built an entire block of black-owned properties. J.B. Stratford owned the largest black-owned hotel in the United States. Greenwood had its own school system, its own hospital, its own newspaper, its own bus line. Black Tulsans owned their own everything. And that, not crime, not poverty, not disorder, is what made Greenwood a target. Because in 1921 America, a black community that did not need white businesses, white banks, or white institutions was considered dangerous. A black community that was thriving was considered a provocation. On May 30th, 1921, a 19-year-old black shoe shiner named Dick Rowland stepped into an elevator in downtown Tulsa. The white female elevator operator, Sarah Page, screamed. That is the entirety of what is known to have happened. What was reported in the Tulsa Tribune the following day was something else entirely. The newspaper ran a headline that has since been lost. The edition was removed from the archive, but witness accounts described it as calling for a lynching. By that evening, a crowd of white men was gathering outside the Tulsa County Courthouse where Dick Rowland was being held. The men of Greenwood heard what was happening. They had seen what white mobs did to black men in American custody. They had read the newspapers. They knew. A group of armed black men drove to the courthouse to protect Dick Rowland. What happened next at the courthouse steps triggered the single most destructive act of racial violence in American history. By midnight, white Tulsans were being handed weapons from local hardware stores. Not quietly, not unofficially. Hardware store owners opened their doors and armed the mob. Tulsa police officers joined the crowd. The Oklahoma National Guard was called, not to protect black residents, but to help intern them. At dawn on June 1st, 1921, the attack on Greenwood began. White rioters and police moved through the district together. They looted black businesses and burned them to the ground. They entered black homes and shot residents. They marched black men, women, and children at gunpoint to detention centers. The bank was looted. The hotel was burned. The hospital was destroyed. The church where families had gathered for Sunday service 1 week earlier was set on fire. And above all of it, biplanes circled the Greenwood district. Aircraft, flying over an American neighborhood. Witnesses and survivors reported being shot at from the planes. Others reported the planes were dropping incendiary devices onto buildings. The official position has always been that the planes were there for observation only. But by the time the sun set on June 1st, 1921, 35 blocks of the wealthiest black neighborhood in America had been reduced to ash. Over 300 black Tulsans were dead. 10,000 were left homeless. Every insurance claim filed by black survivors was denied. Every single one. The same system that denied the humanity of Greenwood's residents denied their insurance claims too. Dick Rowland, the young man whose elevator ride started all of it, was released without charge days later. Sarah Page had refused to press charges. There had been no assault. There may have been nothing more than an accidental stumble. 300 people were dead. 10,000 were homeless. And the young man at the center of it was released because there was no crime to prosecute. Just a rumor. Just a newspaper headline. Just a mob that needed a reason. The Tulsa grand jury investigated the massacre. Their conclusion was that the black community and outside agitators were responsible for the violence. Not the mob. Not the police who marched black residents at gunpoint. Not the hardware store owners who handed out weapons. Not the pilots in the planes. The black community. Tulsa then attempted to rezone the destroyed Greenwood district for industrial use, making it legally impossible for black residents to rebuild on their own land. The community fought back and won the right to rebuild, but no compensation was ever paid. No criminal charges were ever filed. No officer was disciplined. No store owner who handed out weapons was arrested. And for the next 75 years, the Tulsa Race Massacre was not taught in Oklahoma schools, not mentioned in city histories, not acknowledged by any official body. A city of over 300 dead simply disappeared. In 2020, archaeologists began excavating sites in Tulsa that survivors had identified as mass graves for nearly a century. Human remains were found. In 2021, 100 years after the massacre, President Joe Biden became the first sitting American president to officially acknowledge what happened in Tulsa. 100 years. The descendants of massacre survivors filed a reparations lawsuit in 2022. It was dismissed. A court decided that the descendants of people whose wealth was destroyed by the government and a mob they armed had no legal standing to seek compensation. No reparations have been paid. Not $1. The insurance claims denied in 1921 have never been honored. We have now covered My Lai, where America killed 504 Vietnamese civilians and gave the soldiers medals. We covered The Zone, where a British court treated the murder of 132 enslaved Africans as an insurance dispute. And now Tulsa, where America burned the wealthiest black community in history to the ground and denied every insurance claim. 3 different centuries, 3 different countries. The same pattern. Power decides whose lives are compensable and whose are not. Now here is what I need from you. Drop your country below right now. Tell me where you are watching from, because I am choosing the next massacre or genocide I cover based entirely on your comments. Every country on earth has a story like Tulsa, a community destroyed, a court case that protected the killers, a history buried for generations. Tell me which country you are from and what hidden atrocity from your nation's history the world has never fully heard. Or tell me which massacre or genocide from anywhere on earth you want me to dig into next. The comment with the most response decides where we go. Share this video right now. Someone in your life was taught that black poverty in America is a result of bad choices. Show them Black Wall Street. Show them what was built. Show them what was destroyed in one night. Show them that every insurance claim was denied. One share puts this in front of thousands of people who have never seen these images or heard this story told the way it deserves to be told. Find us on YouTube, search Official The Odd Archive, and subscribe so you never miss what we uncover next. And if this page has shown you history that no classroom ever did, leave us a review on Facebook. Because the next story we are dropping, the government involved tried to destroy every document that proved it happened. They almost succeeded. We found what survived.